All right, 9mm versus 40 versus 45. And what do I have today? The Sinterfire. S-I-N-T-E-R fire. And this is a reduced ricochet load. They're hollow points, they're copper, lead-free, reduced ricochet. Our 40 is a 125 grain rated at 1350 feet per second. The 45 is a 155 grain, I believe, rated at 1150 feet per second. Our 9mm is a 100 grain rated at 1250 feet per second. I'm going to do a long slide test. All in our long slides, we got our 5-inch M&P 40, our 5-inch M&P 9, and our 5.3-inch Glock 41 and 45 ACP. So we're going to see what this ammunition does in our ballistic test, and a little bit different test I'm going to do. I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time with those rounds, see how close they are rated to velocity. I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test, which contains 4 layers of denim, followed by 3 inches of clear ballistics to represent hitting a pectoral muscle, followed by a 1/4 inch MDF to represent hitting ribs or sternum, and to more clear ballistics. We'll do some shots with this MDF, and then we'll do some shots without the MDF for our gut shot and see how it compares. Then I'm going to shoot from 25 yards. I have a little bit of a special test I'm going to do today, and I'll explain that when I get to that part of the testing. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our 9mm 100 grain rated at 1250 feet per second. I'm about 5 yards from the target, so let's see how close we get to that 1250 feet per second rated velocity with our 9mm and our 5-inch barrel. 1384, nice. 1398, 1390, 1392, 1383. Very low recoil and very fast. Let's see how our 40 compares. All right, 40 Smith & Wesson 125 grain. It's actually rated 100 feet per second faster at 1350. I don't know why that is, but 40 Smith & Wesson. Let's see how close we get to that 1350 feet per second. 1296, 1300, 1299, 1309, 1289. So below rated velocity. Interesting. Let's see how our 45 ACP does. 45 ACP rated at 1150 feet per second. Lowest rating. It's a 155 grain, so pretty heavy in comparison at least. See what we get. How close do we get to 1150? 1144, 1140, 1085. Interesting. 1131, 1095. So again, below rated velocity. Let's hit our ballistics gel box, see what we get with these rounds. All right, with our ballistic gel test, I'm gonna do all 3 rounds into the MDF and then switch it up and do no MDF. A little bit different than what I normally do, but M&P 9, 9mm, 100 grain. Let's see what this will do through our MDF. All right. So this is quite interesting. Our core went all the way up to about 18 inches there. And we see this really strange pattern like this happening, and then we hit like this. And a lot of that did not go through the MDF. There's a lot of fragments of it right here. So while that core went adequate penetration, the rest of it did not. So this would probably be painful. This would be deadly. Very interesting. Let's try a 40 and see how that compares. All right, 40 Smith & Wesson. Let's see how this one will do. All right. All right, so we're seeing something a little bit different with this. I mean, we're seeing the same thing, but it's kind of a slower start to it. and more of those fragments got into the actual block here, and then the core is less steep. So our core is at about 12.5 inches, but then we have some of these little fragments here at about 6 inches, which is kind of interesting. Let's see how our 45 ACP compares. All right, 45 ACP. We'll see how this one does. So by the way, our 40 and our 45 kind of finished everything off. 9, 40, 45. Bigger fragments with the 45. Our core is a little bit less penetration, about 11.5 inches. So interesting results, to say the least. Let's do our shots without the MDF and see how that compares. All right, no MDF, just our gut shot, just, you know, regular clear ballistics and 4 layers of down. Let's see how our 9mm does. All right. All right, with that, it looks more impressive, and I think this is kind of what the ammunition companies go for. People testing just playing this without any rib simulation, and it looks more impressive. Our penetration is at about 18 3/4. So let's try a 40 and see how that compares. All right, 40 Smith & Wesson. See how this will do. All right. So this is gonna be a mess to clean up. Less penetration on the core, just like with the MDF. We're at about 15.5 inches. Big old fragmentation of that. It's pretty impressive. Let's see how our 45 does. 45 ACP. Let's see how this one will do. Right. So, kind of like the MDF shot, and just like before, where our fragments are larger with the 45, and they are more of a gradual spread out rather than the faster rounds that are, you know, larger spread. Total damage path is the same as the 40. You know, our 40 looks like about 15.5. 45 is about 15.5 at that core. So, interesting ammunition to say the least. It looks like there'd be a lot of pain as well as okay, quote unquote, stopping power with these. So let's shoot from that 25 yards and see what we can get. All right, 25 yards from the target. What you see there is a gallon of water on the right, and then our full-size steel silhouette on the left. Gallon of water is the perfect size for a central nervous system shot. And this ammunition is, you know, reduced ricochet. It's kind of like something maybe somebody would use in a crowded area or something like that. So our scenario here is bad guy 1 on the right and bad guy 2 on the left are both armed. You're both randomly shooting people. So the goal here is from 25 yards. Before I'm spotted, I'm going to take out guy 1 on the right. And by that time, guy 2 would turn around and start shooting my direction, so I don't have time to take on the full-size silhouette shot. So first off, our 9mm. See how many hits I can get. But my first shot will be, you know, relaxed, and I'm just gonna try to take out that shot. All right, so not easy when you kind of, you know, envision what's happening. So let's try our 40. All right, 40 Smith & Wesson, same test. See what I can do. Nope, he fell. All right, not too bad. Hitting that first shot was kind of hard. My rig there that holds the water is not too good, but let's try our 45. All right, so I'm gonna go for that water jug first, and then we'll switch on to our faster shooting. Miss. There we go. There we go. So overall, my overview of this ammunition, just in a general sense right now, when I'm thinking about what I've seen with the ballistics gel, what I'm seeing with everything else, is the performance is kind of erratic in a sense. Because a lot of the ballistics don't make any sense. Why is, you know, one rated so high and below rated velocity, the other one's rated lower, way above rated velocity? The way that the pattern of that fragmentation goes in the gel is completely different from one to the other. It's kind of hard to know what to expect with all three of them because they're all a little bit different. They even though they do kind of the same thing, they do it quite a bit differently. And just the way they shoot feels a little bit different from one to the other. You know, we got adequate penetration. I believe on one of them, the 9mm, we had over penetration. And the 40 and 45, we're talking just a plain gel here without the MDF. Our 40 and 45 had good penetration. It was adequate and it wasn't over penetrated. 9mm over penetrated. The 9mm, in my opinion, had the worst ballistic performance, yet it was the only one that shot good, in my opinion, where I didn't really have to try to make those shots. So take it for what it is. I think it's a little bit gimmicky for me. That's probably why it's so cheap. You know, it's like half the cost of other ammunition, you know. So that's what you get today, Sinterfire. Yeah, it'll work, but I don't think it's the best. So that's what you get. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.